Oh, here comes the cat. She followed me to work. Hey, Internets. It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. Actually, the first time in the same room in months. We are socially distanced. We're at the end of a long table. Paul, way down there. But yes, we're back in the same room. Hence, headphones gone. And we're going to be talking about The Boys, Season 2, Episode 5. We Gotta Go Now. Which I assume, I don't know, is that like Louie Louie? Is that what, like, we gotta go now?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
They don't sing that song.
That song that Billy Joel did so long ago.
Hey, right, that Billy Joel tune, Louie Louie. Okay, maybe not. But as we typically do, how do we open? How do we close? We open on the set of this movie, Dawn of the Seven, where we're actually seeing things like, oh, Maeve has been outed as gay. Well, she's coming out as gay in the movie. Oh, A-Train's been let go. Well, he's going to get fired in the movie. So it's they're actually acting out themselves in what's happening to them in real life. It's like, whoo, bizarre. It would be funny if, and actually we do see this in a way, but it would be funny if they didn't do their own stunts. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, bring in the stunt guy. Then we end with Stormfront and Homelander having sex. And it's a over-the-top type scene there.
Super sex.
Super sex. And so that's our frame.
Bounding frame, yeah.
Just going back to Dawn of the Seven. The script is terrible when, of course, Homelander just said, oh, those Joss rewrites really helped. Like, oh, throwing the Joss Whedon, rewrote Justice League. But the line that was like, where Maeve's talking to the hacker, and it's like, I'm a hell of a hacker, but I'm no hero. And then Maeve goes, I'm a lot like you. I'm gay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, it was funny. Yeah. What's your thoughts, sir, on the episode before we launch into too much?
It was interesting. I was affected by a recap that I saw that was saying that not enough was happening in that episode. And they're certainly setting things up there, and considering what you were saying, how many episodes we got left, perhaps they're squandering all of that time. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting the fact that they took the whole episode basically for Billy Butcher to come back on to the to the task at hand. So they
Team
gave him a
Boys
whole sort of episode to mourn, and really he was considering suicide actually. So
right, depressed at having been rejected by Becca.
Yes, yeah, and well, obviously he changed his whole life. And, that was at the end of the season where he discovered that the reason that he changed his whole life wasn't what he thought it was.
He thought she was dead. He was trying to get revenge. She's
so
alive.
It took him a while before he was able to get to her finally and say, hey, let's get out of here. And she just completely destroyed what little reason he had to live. So
we see him get into this bar fights, just try to get beaten up.
Yeah.
We see him volunteer to take on Black Noir.
Yeah. So
he's trying to do suicide by violence. Kind of thing.
So I thought all those were interesting themes. I guess I thought it was possible that Homelander and Stormfront would be more simpatico much earlier. So when she was kind of opposing him in a way, it was an interesting surprise. And now they're together, which she's more racially bigoted than him, but not that much. So it seemed like a more natural alliance, actually. And so now we're there, so that's good.
One of the big plot points in this episode is that Homelander was caught on camera killing an innocent bystander. Yeah. He just unasked for shows up, kills a person with superpowers. But in so doing, laser eyes, goes too far, kills off another guy, and he takes off. And this has led to these protests. I mean, I guess Vought was just really good at clamping down on that before, because this has obviously happened.
Yes.
We saw it in
Yes.
season 1.
Right. Well, I mean, they were, in that meeting, they were like, "Oh, what's our casualty? Oh, 0, but then 30%."
I mean, it seemed like this is the laser eyes. It's the laser eyes is what got him in the plane too. It's I'll kill the chair. Oh, I burned the.
Yeah.
You think he would figure out how to? Especially
maybe he is not even tried.
Yeah, he's like,
okay, that was fun.
I want to do full power.
Yeah,
because we'll talk about this. What the hell? In the protest scene, he kills a bunch of folks, but doesn't.
Yes.
But when you're still thinking he's killing them, and it's just in his mind, he actually does extend the beam. Yeah. I noticed that. The beam kills the people right in front, and then it goes farther. Yeah. So if he has that kind of control over it, you think you're like, zip. All right, we're done.
Yeah.
But no. You make sure.
That's right.
You don't underestimate your opponent.
Yes. Or maybe only in his dreams does he have that.
Yeah, exactly. Only in your dreams, pal. I have complete control over it. So yes, there's the protest happens. It's being led by a congresswoman, Newman, I think is her last name, and it's very much it's like an AOC thing, right? He even makes it like, oh, I liked your walk like an Egyptian dance, trying to minimize her, But she's justifiably very, very tense in that moment. He could kill me right now. He contemplates killing the crowd, and we see that, and then he doesn't. Yeah. Personally, it's not like it was terrible. It was just like, I feel like I was excited when I was like, whoa, they really took a huge plot point. Because you even mentioned it last recap. You're like, what happens? Is the show heading in the direction of we find out that the populace finds out that the Seven are terrible and revolts against them? And so there it is, this moment. I mean, they're starting to revolt. They're like, oh, you don't like that one action. But boy, if he killed off a whole square full of people, then all right, now it's people versus Homelander.
Yeah, but in a way that gives it away. It's like, does he have that little control? I kill this one person and everybody in the crowd.
Yoink, yoink. It was hey, this was cool. Not really, it's fine. We're back to neutral, but it was for a second. You thought he just killed hundreds of people. You've got the Stormfront, the Homelander thing. As you say, she seemed to be antagonistic towards him now. It looks like she's manipulating him through sex. I had the idea that maybe, in the last recap, that maybe she wanted a kid with Homelander, and that she still might. But I do feel like the more likely reason that she's going through all these activities is to manipulate him. To get him on her side in the right moment. And we'll talk in a little bit. I got a theory about maybe where this is going based on her conversation with Shawn Ashmore, who shows up briefly in this episode. He is Lamplighter, and we'll talk about that in a second. Oh, something I did like at the protest, because, there's all these things like, hey, war criminal, and you're terrible, and the Seven, oh no. And there's one guy who's got a sign, 7 movie sucks. I just like the idea that there's this all. But look, the world's in trouble. You guys are fascists. By the way, your movie's terrible. 7 movie sucks. Damn it. I was like, yeah, you go, guy at protest.
Yeah. Previously, he had the McDonald's, special sauce as a complaint. So.
Right. A-Train is officially out of the group now. He tried to rewrite the script, which is kind of fun. It's like by not leaving the show in the movie, he's not leaving the group, which is kind of but they bring the hammer on him. Like, look, we got a morality clause, and you were bad, and so if you don't want us to publicize it, so it's kind of like with Homelander. It's like you got a rep. Yeah. We can screw with your rep. And so he agrees to then, and then of course when he says goodbye on the show, it's not Homelander.
Says,
hey, that was a great job, guy. Homelander doesn't even show up. That was like a Vought tries to bring in, I think it's Elena, Maeve's girlfriend. Right. And hey, now that Maeve's out, you're gonna be this couple, and here's what you're gonna wear. And we're just going to call you lesbians, and it's going to be great. And, she's like, look, no. And so Maeve convinces her to contribute because she's like, look, I'm really worried for your safety. And as long as we're publicly here, then I can protect you. And so there's that. It's a big plot moment there because
and then she goes on to talk to about taking him down.
Yeah, so she's like, I'm going to take out Homelander to protect Elena. She has a big reason to do that now.
Right.
And so she goes and talks to the Deep, who we see is now married. I mean, it's the Tom Cruise Scientology thing. Maeve is interested in uniting with him. I feel like A-Train, having recently been kicked out by Homelander, probably could be co-opted as well.
Yeah.
If Maeve wanted, hey, by the way, I'm trying to take out Homelander in some however she words it, but you could probably say, hey, I need your assistance, A-Train. So you could see that little group coming together. She could also approach Starlight, potentially. And if she did that, you would have a situation where you've got Maeve, the Deep, A-Train, Starlight, and the boys all in some kind of a, temporary truce to attempt to take out Homelander. Yeah. So we have the Butcher is with his aunt. We find out Butcher had a brother.
Yes.
Younger brother who was apparently a lot like Huey.
Yeah.
He was his canary before Huey was
his old canary in the coal mine.
And we don't hear exactly what happened to the brother, but the aunt says, like, rest his soul or something. So it sounds like he is dead. Yeah. Story-wise, it would make sense if somehow
not just very
the
active.
Butcher was involved at some point. Didn't kill his brother, but somehow feels responsible for having his brother get killed or something. That may come into play a little more. Although maybe it's enough to say Huey's a lot like Lenny. Huey's the Lenny stand-in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess potentially it might be like some bit of information about that is related somehow to Vought, but I don't think they need it.
Right. They got so many plot points.
Yeah,
to cover right now.
So many motivations to want to take down.
Yeah. Look, and this was Lenny the whole time. Something that I thought was funny. I think it's deliberate. Is that Black Noir is terrible at stealth. I mean, it was so comical. He is on this roof in suburbia during the daylight. It's a sunny day. And he's just there for like hours. They call in the gas trucks. The gas trucks, they leave. Like, he's just sitting there assuming he can't be seen, I guess. And everybody's like, oh my God, it's Black Noir on that roof. He's all in black. Like, that works better at night, I'll just say. Tend to be than a sunny day in suburbia hanging out on a rooftop. Anyway, it's just funny that they just ran with that. They're like, no, that's there he is. Where is he? Is he in the picture? I can't tell.
It's like, just looking for a softball that some kids threw up here.
Right. Don't mind me doing some chimney sweeping. Butcher attempts to kind of do the go out like a hero moment, but then maybe as a result of his conversation with Huey, I don't know, but he at the last minute comes up with this notion of blackmailing to stay alive. So he's like, wait, look, if you kill me, I've got photos of Ryan and it'll prove that Homelander assaulted my wife, and boy, don't kill me because the stuff will go up to the cloud. And we see that Mr. Edgar is like constantly watching through Black Noir's camera, which does he do that for every hero, or is it just Black Noir?
Who knows? I mean, maybe when he has him committing an act of assassination.
Right. Black Noir, I want you to sit on this rooftop and just point the camera in the direction. Nice job. Good job.
Great composition.
But Mr. Edgar sees what's happening and tells Black Noir not to kill our heroes, and so Black Noir leaves. I thought he might like break his leg or something, just like parting gift. But no. They live to tell the tale.
They do, and skip away.
Unharmed. Kamiko has signed herself off as an assassin.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the woman who was signing her off as assassin was the woman that Frenchie went to. It's like, oh man, Kamiko, she's really lost right now. Oh, is she? And her phone number is. So uses that information to hire Kamiko. So she goes and does some terrible rips a guy's face off,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
apparently that's out of the comics. But
okay.
anyway, so she does terrible things. Frenchie still is trying to save her soul.
Yeah, until, that's it. He decides that, you're not even trying to teach me your language.
Right, she does
It's
the
like
whole
you
sign
keep
language
pushing
thing.
me away and
Yes, the fact that she hasn't taught him that language seems to be at least one of the final straws. They're in the church. Notably, she doesn't just kill him, right? She doesn't just go like,
Right.
"Get away from me!"
Yes.
So she's.
Well, yeah, you could give her that. But she doesn't kill him.
Well,
She
she
could
doesn't
have.
neck snap
She
him.
could
She
have
just, like,
ripped
pushes
his
him
face
down.
off. Yeah.
His face is still intact. So there, as we mentioned last episode, we had those series of relationships
Yeah.
with obstacles. That one still has the obstacle, but we see she's gonna make some kind of a move towards him. I think, right? He's just given up, and that's gonna be the impetus for her to be like, wait, you were right, kind of thing. I think that
She
moment
might, although it might be just before her death. You think about it.
could be.
Because right now, maybe she joins up with Maeve, but, for the moment, it's irrational for her to want to kill, Stormfront when Stormfront can easily kill her.
True.
So-
So that's a good point. We're not sure. You feel like somebody important is going to die in the next 3 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Who that is, I'm not sure. There's some people that I think certainly are safe. Somebody like Huey is not going to die.
Probably not, although that'd be interesting.
It would be interesting, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's kind of the heart of the show.
So they were taking the heart away.
But yes, I think a major character on either the good or the bad side is probably doomed for death here. Now, as I was starting the season, I thought maybe that person might be like either Homelander or maybe, as we got to know Stormfront, like Stormfront in her attempt to take out Homelander.
Certainly be surprised if both of them survived.
Right. I think it's a Stormfront arc is what this is. I didn't think it was at first. I thought it was a maybe Homelander v Black Noir arc at the beginning of the season, but I feel like this is a Stormfront arc, and so maybe she has to go. I almost feel like if I had to put money on one of these characters dying before the end of the season, I feel like it might be Stormfront.
Wow.
Because the changes that she's offering to this show are so huge.
Yeah.
The show would be which is fine. It could happen, but I think the show would be very different season 3 if she survives. So here's my thought. Okay, there's a scene where she's talking to Shawn Ashmore.
Sure.
Iceman, who is now apparently Pyro, because he's Lamplighter, and we see him playing with the lighter.
Yeah.
So he can manipulate fire. He's the guy, Lamplighter, in season 1, was who he retired. We didn't really know anything really about why he retired, but he retired, and Starlight took his place. We also do know that he killed a bunch of kids, and that's why Frenchie has this, Frenchie feels guilty, because apparently it was Frenchie feels like it was his fault. The kids died.
What, Mother's Milk feels it's his fault.
Yeah. Maybe somehow Lamplighter was forced to retire for publicity reasons or something. But for what we see now is that looks like he's an orderly at this place called Sage Grove. Might be a hospital. I'm thinking it's almost like an Arkham Asylum kind of place. Maybe that's I thought, well, maybe he's undercover, but I'm like, would Lamplighter at especially if it's a Vought Institute be undercover? Probably not.
Right.
So he's that's the gig he got. We're retiring you. You can work. You can clean up floors at the. Go get him, Lamplighter. So
I would think they would give him a better thing than that. Maybe he just got the job, and they're like, okay, if that's what he wants to do,
sure.
But he's doing it for a purpose.
So he's at this institution. We see that there's a very important conversation that Stormfront has with him. Also, Starlight looks on Stormfront's computer and sees a whole bunch of emails between Stormfront and Sage Grove. So she's been talking to Lamplighter via text or whatever. Also, that means that Starlight knows about that, which means she's going to report that to the group. We should check out Sage Grove. That's what I'm guessing. Next episode is the boys head to Sage Grove.
Okay,
yeah. The conversation that Lamplighter has with Stormfront, we hear this thing like, oh, he's only 17. She's like, oh, well, he's going to be a hero. And he's like, well, you don't have to look him in the face. We get the idea that there's a 17-year-old boy whose apparently days are numbered. But Lamplighter's a little queasy about going through with whatever the plan is.
Now he doesn't like killing kids.
Yeah, now he doesn't like killing kids. And so, but Stormfront's like, no, do the thing, stay on target. So it made me go back to the trailer that we saw for the season, the final trailer for the season. A couple of things in there. One of them that's important, particularly, is we see this 17-year-old-ish boy, shaved head, he's got like an institutional gown on, he's been shot a few times, and he's using powers to kill guards. So I think that's the guy we're talking about. So that means there's this hospital is for people with superpowers. Sure. Adolescents with superpowers. Right. And I think Stormfront's idea is to somehow free these Supes using this one kid as a martyr, maybe. I don't know how the setup is a little odd, but that's what I think is happening, that she is going to free a bunch of Supes. Now, if they're kid Supes, it makes me think maybe it's just a lab where the Vought's putting V into people, but maybe it's like the offspring of heroes. They're like, we don't want these folks out, so we're going to keep them in a lab. I don't know, maybe.
Right. I mean, I feel like most of the, like, Starlight and...
like a hospital of Ryans.
A-Train and all of them, they all seem to be of a similar age. And not, the only person we know is old is Stormfront, actually. Yeah. So, I guess it could be Stormfront's kids. I mean, I wonder if there's, like, a similar proto-group, like in Watchmen, where there was the initial group that, the Hangman was with or whatever, and then now we knew so I wonder if there's an early group they're going to rediscover. It's interesting theory.
But what that led me to is to make the theory even more complicated and less likely. I
can settle my own theory.
Is that maybe... the reason she's doing this is because we know that she's uber racist and whatever. And we know that she's kind of like pure blood. She has that really awkward conversation with A-Train. She's they just let anybody in.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what are you talking about? But
yeah.
It's like, oh, she...
Yeah, it's like, I'm not prejudiced against Supes.
Yeah.
Or whatever their race. I'm prejudiced against humans.
Right. So that's what I think is happening here, that she resents Vought because Vought is a bunch of non-Supes that are holding down the Supes.
Interesting.
And so I think this is all a rebellion to get rid of Vought and create this world of Supes where theoretically she might be at the leader. Hence, she's kind of Voldemorting, right? She's a Malfoy.
I would say Legged Macbething if I had any familiarity with Shakespeare.
Okay.
Who was that? Star Trek.
With Star Trek.
There was often has
there was a Shakespeare moment in it, in fact.
Yeah,
he even did that. Is this a dagger moment? Anyway, so I think maybe that's where we're going is she is attempting to create a world where Vought is no longer in control and that it's the Supes that are in control. And so I think there's going to be some kind of a method to try to take her down, and maybe Vought even tries to call in the other Supes, and that's why she's trying to get in good with Homelander. Mr. Edgar is like, all right, go get her. And then maybe Homelander has to make a choice. Oh, well, actually, she's pretty cool. We had sex. So anyway, I think that could be the idea, that with the moment that Vought calls in the troops to stop her, she's banking on the fact that she's made enough inroads that it won't come to that, maybe. Oh, okay. I don't know. We got 3 episodes. I'm just saying, it's gonna move fast. I do feel like while the last 2 episodes have been a little slower by the boys' standards, I think these last 3 are going to speed up quite a bit. Yeah. We'll be back talking about episode 6 of The Boys and also Lovecraft Country. Yes. So come back for that. Thanks, everybody.